This man has been trapped in a primitive forest for 21 days. During this time, he almost drowned in a swamp with a big bag on his head. When he was hungry, he grabbed something to eat. He didn't even let go of the newly hatched egg. But this miserable guy is a rich second generation. His name is Harry. His family is quite rich. He dropped out of school early. He went to Las Vegas to try his luck, and a strange beauty took the initiative to give him a hug. At a young age, he realized how simple and elegant the life of a rich man is. For so many years, he's been bored with this kind of life. He thought it was boring, so he decided to leave his parents for a walk. But he didn't expect that this would be the beginning of his nightmare. Harry's first stop is the famous and simple Bolivia. Here he met two fellow travelers, glasses man and photographer. The three of them went together. During this time, Harry also made eye contact with a girl. He was poisoned by juice. Soon he got dizzy. After that, Harry always felt a little empty. He found that traveling was just changing a place to sleep. It's not exciting at all. But soon the opportunity came. This day, when Harry was strolling in the mountains, he was called by an American man. The man's name is Lauka. He claims to be an adventurer. He said that there was a deep tour route here. He could take Harry to explore the Amazon jungle. There are primitive tribes, gold everywhere, and wonders that can't be seen in various cities. You only need a $50 tour guide fee to leave an unforgettable experience. Looking at the photos taken by Lauka, Harry was a little moved. So he went back to the hotel and called the other two girls to go to the jungle with him. The next morning, this man walked into the Amazon jungle. Everything was going well at first. The sun-covered tropical plants and various rare animals looked excited. Under the guidance of Lauka, they really came to a certain tribe. Harry also escaped into the river to get a large amount of gold. The photographer also took a picture of Harry surrounded by butterflies. Everyone was very happy, enjoying the true value of $50. But the next day, the problem appeared. The worst physical condition of the man with the eyes. His feet were bruised by the rough mountain road, and he was seriously slowing down. Harry and the photographer were a little unhappy. They felt that the man with the eyes fell off the chain at a critical moment. On the third day, the man with the eye's foot injury became more serious. So Lauka proposed to camp in place and wait for the man with the eye's foot injury to recover and then return to the city together. But this is just the beginning. Their final destination has not yet arrived. Harry and the man with the eyes do not want to give up halfway like this. After a personal discussion, they decided to go separate ways. Lauka and the man with the eyes went back the same way. Harry and the photographer continued to explore the jungle according to the original plan. It was very peaceful at first. Harry had a good night's sleep on a tree, but suddenly he was woken up by the photographer. The current of water in front of him became unshakable and united. Lauka also began to lose control. Because of the lack of experience, he was quickly rushed to a piece of glue. Seeing the current getting more and more urgent, Lauka couldn't hold on for long. The photographer didn't want to sit and wait, so he stuck his head into the water and swam hard to the shore. But Harry, who is not very good at swimming, was afraid to die. The photographer came up with a way to let Harry throw the curved knife to him. He went to cut some vines and pulled Harry over. But when Harry got the knife, the fierce river turned over first. Harry lost his balance and was flushed out by the river. Fortunately, Harry ran away in the rosewater and tried his best to crawl to the shore. But alone and helpless, he will soon see how terrible the original jungle is. The man woke up from the original jungle and found a caterpillar on his forehead. He rubbed it with his fingers and there was something moving inside. So he cut the caterpillar with the blade and pulled out a living parasite. He gave it all to Lauka. After the wound was treated, Harry decided not to wait a moment and decided to continue looking for a way out. Because if you stay in the original jungle for one more day, the danger will increase by 1 point. Before leaving, Harry took out the map to confirm the route and took a map of the route on the rock. He hoped that the photographer could see it. Pack your luggage. Harry continued to move forward, and he was hungry every 2 steps. At this time, a few fruits on the tree caught his attention, but when he climbed up, he found a poisonous snake in a tree hole. Harry was scared to fall to the ground, but soon the hunger overcame the fear. Harry climbed up again and threw the poisonous snake. On the ground, he smashed it to death with a stone. With snake meat and juice, he could have a meal every meal. But for a long time after that, Harry never found anything else to protect. He decided to sleep to temporarily forget the hunger. And at this time, a low-pitched voice came from the grass. Harry was very scared and hurriedly took out the insecticide and a firecracker to defend himself. A weakly leopard slowly appeared in the dark. Harry aimed at the weakly leopard, and then the weakly leopard suddenly disappeared. Harry just realized that he had had a hallucination, but he dared not sleep anymore. After a long day, Harry saw a cut tree trunk. This is a flat cut, obviously. Someone passed by here. He was excited and shouted with a loud voice, but there was no response at all. Harry had to keep going. He didn't see anyone, but accidentally saw 2 bird eggs. He broke the bird egg, which was a completely unfertilized bird. Harry was so hungry that he fell into his mouth at random. He chewed it up. It looked like a hungry bird, but it was the most delicious food he had eaten in the past few days. It was getting dark. Harry planned his route for tomorrow. On the next day, his feet were broken because of the long journey. The flesh and the socks were stuck together. Although it was painful, he couldn't bear it. But at this time, he stopped and waited for his only death. After dawn, Harry continued to drive out through a forest. The scene in front of him gave him hope. This is the 19th day he was trapped in the original forest. Looking at the footprints on the dirt, Harry had a moment of hope. This means that someone has been here before. He was so happy. But when he saw the broken eggshell in the distance, his heart was cold. That's what he ate yesterday. Then he stepped on his own foot on the shoe print. It's a perfect match. Harry was desperate. It turned out that he had been walking hard all day. He was just turning around. He was angry and smashed his backpack on the ground. But he immediately realized that this would only waste his energy. After calming down, Harry decided to follow the river. This way he wouldn't get lost. But on the way, it rained heavily. This made him even more desperate. Harry had to put on a raincoat and hide behind a rock. He planned to wait for the rain to stop and then hurry. After the sky cleared, he found water on the cliff. He was afraid that he would be greedy on the cliff and drink it up. Suddenly, Harry heard the helicopter's horn ringing in his head. He hurriedly took out his red cloth and tried his best to ask for help. But the barren jungle blocked his figure. The helicopter flew away in a moment. Good luck still didn't stop Harry. He was lying on the grass. The despair almost completely destroyed him. But what Harry didn't know was that the helicopter didn't happen by accident. It turned out that yesterday's storm washed the photographer into the river. Luckily, he was found by the villagers in a jungle and brought back to the village. But the photographer didn't forget Harry. He found the police chief. He asked the police chief to use the helicopter to rescue him. But because the jungle was too dense, he couldn't see anything. He could only return without merit. The police chief persuaded the photographer to give up, because no one can survive alone in the original Amazon forest for 19 days. But the photographer believed that Harry was still alive, so he found the villagers who were most familiar with the river, spent a lot of money to buy his boat, go alone to save Harry. But Harry, who missed the helicopter at this time, has completely lost his fighting spirit. After dawn, Harry, who was unconscious, accidentally entered the swamp. He woke up suddenly. Tried to pull himself out with the grass, but the grass was too weak. It broke in an instant. The deeper he went, all he could see was his head out there, and the huge leaf in front of him became his last life-saving grass. But luckily, the leaf was tough enough. He crawled out smoothly. He saw a pile of fire ants on the tree. Bitten by this kind of ant, it would be like being burned to death. But at this time, only pain could wake him up. So Harry shook the branches, let the fire fall on himself. The pain triggered Harry's last dilemma. He ran at full speed. Finally, arrived at the river. It was dark at this time. He used the wood to put out a big "why" as a distress signal. The next day, the photographer happened to come to the bank by boat, found the distress signal, but Harry was gone. The disappointed photographer got on the boat and was ready to leave, but Harry was actually sleeping in a stone gap. He heard the engine horn. He woke up from his dream. He crawled out with all his strength. The mud on his body had almost melted him into the ground. He stood up desperately, but the hunger for a long time made him unable to shout. He could only say a faint word. Fortunately, the photographer seemed to receive the call. Finally found Harry.